I really have a thing for a good flower print. Preferably something bright and big, or a nice flower detail in clothing and accessories. Like this little flower hairband that I made. One of my favorite designers is Kim, who's made these amazing flower appliqué style garments. So I thought, why not try to make a flower printed garment with a flower printed detail on top? So for today, I'll be attempting to create a top inspired by this look. So let's begin. To construct the top, I'm drafting a simple fitted bodice from my Winifred Aldrich pattern cutting for women's wear book. And from there, I'm using the modification to create a bust dart with curved seams to achieve my desired look. After drafting the simple bodice, I transfer everything to create the new darts. My choice of fabric for this project is this thrifted kimono I picked up a few months ago. And why not go crazy on the flowers and do a flower detail on a flower printed garment, just to make everything a bit more extravagant. Now, this choice I might come to regret later, as it could end up looking like a chaotic mess, but it's exactly this over-the-top kind of top that I'm missing in my wardrobe. I lay everything out to be cut, and sew the curved side seams together. Darts get sewn in, back and front attached together, and a zipper gets added. To shape the flower, I chose this wine glass in aiding me with shaping the size of my circle for my cutout part. I then divided the circle into 5 equal parts, and from there I started arbitrarily deciding the shape and size of my flower petal shape. And then cut it out. Then I'm marking my petal at the widest point and dividing the length into 3 to then cut up the petal, because we need to slash and spread this petal to give some volume at the top and a lot at the bottom. To be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm kind of just trying something out and trying it on a mock-up first, seeing if it works, and then going from there. So to spread out my cutout pieces, I'm spreading the top with about 1/2 centimeter in between each cutout, and at the bottom I'm spreading them about 3 centimeters between each cutout. Then adding 2 centimeters extra to the bottom, I attempt to draw in the flower shape. For my flower cutout, I practiced my first conceptual idea on a white piece of fabric. In this example, I did use an elasticated closing, which I will not be using in my final garment, but will instead be using a tie. I'm just marking the placement of where the flower should go and cutting out the flower shape. I'm using my little petal stencil to attempt to cut out 5 identical pieces. This turned out to be a bit more wonky than anticipated, as I last minute decided to make my flowers slightly smaller than my mock-up, but honestly, it turned out fine. Now, I'm marking out my cutout petals with my slash and spread size and giving an additional 3 centimeters at the bottom for when folding in the bottom and to make room for the ties. And continuing that step for all of my 5 petals. Then, marking out the approximate width of where my gathering stitches should go, I sew 2 lines of basting stitches and pull them together. Checking on one of my little petals to get a sense of if we're heading in the right direction. For this mode of construction, I'm pinning 2 petals right sides together and sewing them along the edge. For my mock-up, I constructed the flower by sewing each individual petal to the cutout first and then sewn the petals together, but this new construction method seemed to work better. Continuing that step to sew all of the petals together. And then it will look something like this. I then pinned the edge of the petals to the edge of the cutout, right sides together, and sewed with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Next, I've already folded down the raw edge of the opening by 1 centimeter and sewn down, and now I'm folding down 2 centimeters to create the channel for the tie to go through. And I know I'm terrible at cutting off threads whenever I'm done with something. I'm trying to be better at it. I then stitched down the channel, leaving a small opening. Now, creating the ties. I cut out about 30 centimeters of fabric to create a sort of bias tape with my bias tape maker, pressed, and then folded in half to press again. Then I sew down right from the edge to create my tie. For the sleeves, similar to the garment that inspired me, I'm adding cap sleeves. For this, I'm also using my pattern cutting book to draft the sleeve pattern. With the tie inserted through the channel with the help of a safety pin, I then create 2 small holes in the channel to get each end of the tie out through the holes. Now, I will go back and add buttonhole stitches to the openings to prevent wear and tear, but for now, I'm checking up on the status of my work and tightening everything together. Last step is just to sew down the opening, and then we're done. I had a little bit of excess fabric, so I decided to make a matching skirt to go with it. Now, my only thing with this top is that because the fabric is both dark and has this print going on, you don't actually really notice the flower applique detail, but I guess that just means that I'll have to try and do this in a different type of garment as well. If you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.